Quando si pensa al mondo degli astronauti, vengono in mente i confini del cielo, la ricerca spaziale, l'infinitamente grande. La ricerca sulla fisica delle particelle, invece, porta alla mente i misteri della sostanza di cui noi stessi siamo costituiti, i segreti della materia oscura, dell'antimateria, il mondo dell'infinitamente piccolo. Due mondi che sembrano agli antipodi, eppure entrambi costituiscono il nostro universo. Questi due mondi si sono incontrati il 25 luglio scorso al CERN di Ginevra, il più grande laboratorio al mondo di fisica delle particelle.
Firing chain is armed. Hot suppression water system is armed. Go for main engine start. 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 0, and liftoff for the final launch of Endeavour. Expanding our knowledge, expanding our lives in space.
Il 25 luglio 2012 al CERN di Ginevra si è svolto un evento eccezionale, la visita ufficiale dei 6 astronauti che hanno portato in orbita l'Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer, lo strumento che indaga sulla materia oscura e sull'antimateria. La conferenza stampa si è svolta al Payload Operation Control Center, il centro di controllo che ha coordinato l'operazione. L'equipaggio era composto dal comandante Mark Kelly, dagli astronauti della NASA Gregory Johnson, Michael Fink, Greg Chemitoff, Andrew Fustel e da Roberto Vittori dell'ESA. A fare gli onori di casa è stato il professor Samuel Ting del Massachusetts Institute of Technology, premio Nobel per la fisica, direttore del progetto AMS, insieme con Rolf Hoyer, direttore generale del CERN, e Alvaro Jiménez Cañete, direttore dell'Agenzia Spaziale Europea.
I think it's very, very important to see the combination, the complementarity between the research at the accelerator and the research in space. Both are addressing similar questions. Where is the antimatter? After all, we are in a matter-dominated universe, so we have to understand where the antimatter went. And we also have to find out what is 95% of the universe made of. And both of these questions are addressed at AMS and at the Large Hadron Collider. So this is a fantastic complementarity, a fantastic way of addressing similar questions. And this is all I wanted to say, because I want to leave it now to Professor Ting, the leader of the AMS experiment, and of course to the astronauts.
Charge, it must have a mass. Because it has a mass, it's absorbed in Earth's atmosphere. And therefore, to study the second half, you need a magnetic detector in space for long duration. So in a sense, we are opening a window, going to a new territory. And what are we going to see? Nobody will know.
L'evento celebrava i primi 14 mesi della messa in orbita dell'AMS. Il 16 maggio 2011, infatti, lo Shuttle Endeavour partiva dalla base di Cape Canaveral per la sua ultima missione, con a bordo l'equipaggio formato da 6 astronauti, capitanato da Mark Kelly. La missione STS-134 aveva lo scopo di installare l'Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer a bordo della ISS, la Stazione Spaziale Internazionale. L'AMS, progettato dal CERN di Ginevra, per individuare la materia oscura e l'antimateria, è stato installato, configurato e testato dall'equipaggio dell'STS-134, in collaborazione con gli scienziati e i tecnici del CERN a terra. L'equipaggio della missione STS-134 è stato ricevuto con tutti gli onori dal CERN, che ha organizzato una giornata per celebrare degnamente l'avvenimento.
Well, you know, you see here, it's the one
Gli astronauti erano visibilmente entusiasti dell'accoglienza e della visita alla casa madre del progetto.
Good morning, everybody. I flew my first space flight about 10 years ago, 11 years ago in 2001. And on my very first night in space, one of the things I noticed immediately upon trying to go to sleep, with the lights out and my eyes closed, is that you could see these flashes inside your eyes, even though it's dark and your eyes are closed. And what these flashes are their cosmic rays passing through your retina. And astronauts initially noticed these as early as the early trips in space that the United States made in the early 1960s. And the cosmonauts noticed these too.
On the space station, transmitted within 1 second. In space,
It was a real highlight of my career to have the opportunity to fly on the last flight of Endeavour. But equal with that, I believe, is the opportunity to work with the team here at CERN and Dr. King, Roberto Battistone, and the AMS team, and to have the opportunity to fly what we expect to be a historic scientific instrument and deliver it to the International Space Station and thankfully successfully install it. We're a little worried about this. The AMS is, I don't know how much money we've spent on it. 1.5, 2?
better not answer this question.
Well, let me say, it starts with a B.
What kind of challenge was it to bring such a scientific instrument into space? Was it the first time for the crew? And then 14 months later, when you're sitting here now, how do you look at this experiment?
You know, it took over 30, I think 35, 36 missions to build the International Space Station. Very complicated space shuttle flights to construct this incredible laboratory in space. When we installed AMS, that was the last piece of ISS. So at that point, the space station was complete. It's been doing science for some time now. But this is really, I think the pinnacle of the science that ISS will do. I mean, it's, in my opinion, the most significant experiment we have on board. It's difficult to do these missions. We trained as a crew for this flight for over 2 years, and that's typical for a space station flight. About 2 years of training.
Endeavour's 3 main engines now back at full throttle, all 3 engines in good shape. Endeavour's already traveling 1,300 miles per hour at an altitude of 11 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center, now 12 miles.
Rosalba Nattero, newspaper. My question is more general about your work, but with a big curiosity. What is the feeling when you are in the space and you see the Earth so far?
So far, so the space, I'm looking at that board right behind you right now. 217.6 miles. So that's where the space station is right now. And it's usually around that altitude, plus or minus a little bit. So, you're pretty far away. It's not anywhere near the distance when we went to the moon. But just to see the Earth as this round ball floating in the blackness of space is a pretty spectacular thing to see. And then to think that, there's 6 of us, well, 5 of us in this room, Roberto's back in Italy, and the other 6 crew members that were on board the space station, that we're all up here, and how many, 9 billion? No, yeah, 9 billion people. Everybody else is on the Earth is pretty humbling experience.
Dopo la conferenza stampa e la visita al centro operativo del Payload Operations Control Center, tutto l'equipaggio si è recato nel giardino adiacente per una cerimonia che consisteva nel piantare un albero e collocare una targa commemorativa dell'evento.
Level that pile. Okay. Fine. That's it.
Why have you participated in the Star Trek movie, and what was this experience?
There is a great connection between the fantasy, the science fiction, and the reality. The science fiction, the science fantasy inspires us, makes us imagine, and then we human beings, we work to make it true. And so having been a real astronaut, it was very fun for me to pretend to be on a spaceship going away.
Have you ever seen an identified flying object?
No, never seen an unidentified flying object. We were only very close to the planet Earth, only 400 kilometers away. So we were in our own neighborhood. But I imagine someday, as we go farther and farther away from planet Earth, we may see more and more interesting things.
Thank you very much.
Grazie.
Grazie.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao. Il desiderio di guardare alle stelle accompagna l'uomo da sempre. Varcare i confini del nostro universo è un sogno che ci portiamo dentro, e la normalità di questi 6 uomini dello spazio ci fa ancor più venire voglia di andare là dove nessun uomo è mai giunto prima.